Hello students, good morning. Once again, I come to discuss with you the next part of the chapter government from the civics chapter 3. Okay. Today, my discussion part is different forms of representative democracy. Before that, I have discussed with you the types of the government and the types of the democracy. Okay. So, in our representative democracy, two main forms of governments are seen. So, how many types of, in the representative democracy, how many forms of government has seen? Two. Okay. The primarily form of government and the presidential form of government. So, these are the two main forms of the government. Now here given some knowledge that recently the government of India introduced the option of NOTA, that is none of the above, for the people who do not want to vote for any candidate. Suppose there are so many people, they actually not the parties, okay, whoever the parties, I am not mentioning the party's name, but there are so many people are there, they don't want that give the vote to any particular party, because somebody actually think that party is not for actually us, they only think about their self only, so they are not working for us. So many people are think in this way, so they can give the vote that NOTA, this button. Okay, so it means none of the above, that means whatever the representatives names are there, they don't like to vote them, so that is why they press the button NOTA. Now the parliamentary form of government. There are two heads of state in the parliamentary form of government. The first is the Prime Minister, who is directly elected by the voters and is also leader of the party in majority. And the other is the president, who is indirectly elected. In parliamentary form of government, real power lies with the parliament. So actually in the parliamentary form of government, the real power lies with the parliament, not any particular person. The prime minister and the council of ministers are de facto head of the government. Now what is the meaning of de facto? It is given in your book page, the page number 138, that is existing in fact but not legally. So it means existing but not illegally. So head of the government. The president is formal head of the state. The head of the government, like prime minister, is the leader of the majority party and controls the executive body. So who actually controls the executive body? Who actually the government? That means the prime minister. This form of government is followed in India, Australia, Germany, etc. Now our next part is presidential form of government. Now this is the presidential form of the government. In the presidential form of government, legislature and executive are separate. Okay, so here actually both are separate, not in the same platform. The president is chosen independently through presidential elections like in USA. The president is the actual head of the state and enjoys all the powers. The president is the policy maker and the legislature, that is the lawmaker. So president is policy maker as well as the lawmaker. The executive, legislature and judiciary are separate. The president is elected for a fixed term and can only be removed through impeachment. Now what is the meaning of impeachment? Its meaning to remove from office for misconduct. That means if the president misconduct any official theory, okay, then he can remove, otherwise he have the fixed term. On the basis of their working, government can be of unitary and federal type. Under the unitary type, there is only one government for whole country. Britain and China are examples of such types of government. And in federal form of government, it distributed between the central and state government, for example, USA. Now our next very vital part is universal adult franchise. Okay. You can see here one picture, that is voters of India. Okay, those who cross their age limit 18, they can be able to give the vote. So all the citizens of India above the age of 18 years can cast their vote to elect the candidate of their choice and they are called actually voters. For casting vote during elections, your name has to be the voter list. In our country, all citizens are equally represented irrespective for the gender, caste, creed, religion and economic status. It means that they have equal right to vote. Yes, in our India actually, those who cross the 18 years, they can all be able to give the vote. And it is known as universal adult franchise. This is the best example of equality. Now one case study is there. In early 20th century, women and poor had to fight for their right to participate in the government across Europe and USA. British women organized a protest against government policies. This movement was called the Women's Suffrage or Right to Vote movement, and the participants were known as suffragettes. Okay. So actually what was happened in the previous time, the early 20th century, that there are some countries who actually not accepted the women's vote or the poor's vote. Okay, but after that, all be able to give the vote, and that means everybody are equal before the law. It was passed from the by the constitution, by the parliament. Okay. So the suffragettes demands the right to vote for all the women and to get their demands heard. They chained themselves to rallying in public places. Many suffragettes were imprisoned and went to hunger strikes. Women's struggle to vote got strengthened during the First World War. During the war, actually, the thousands of men were away fighting. So many women began organizing and managing different kinds of work, and they were earlier considered to be men's work. This made people realize that they had created so many unfair stereotypes about women. So women began to be seen as being equally capable of making decisions. So women can also take the decisions, and women are also equal with like men. So finally, 1928, the British women owned the right to vote on equal terms with men. In America, women got the right to vote in 1920. Okay. So this is very much important for us, that this knowledge is very much important for us. So there are so many keywords are there, and this our chapter is actually basically completed. Now so many keywords are there. One is rehabilitations, heredity, de facto and impeachment. Okay, students, so our this government chapter is completed. Okay, so thank you and bye.